We welcome you to Washington, D.C. as the animosity between these two teams grows with each game in this series. Tonight, it's Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Celtics lead the Wizards 2-1. The NBA playoffs on TNT from the Verizon Center. And welcome courtside, everybody. I'm Eagle along with Greg Anthony. David Aldridge joins us as well. Yes, it's been combative, and there seems to be a legitimate rivalry that's developing here. However you want to categorize it, right now, the tension is tangible, and we saw a little bit of everything in game number 3. It was a foul fest here at Verizon Center, 52 personal fouls, 8 technicals, flagrant foul, 3 ejections. Kelly Oubre suspended for tonight's game, will not be available for Washington. Really a big question right now, Greg. Isaiah Thomas, how does Boston get him going here in Game 4?
And really, he's the catalyst. You're talking about a guy that had a career low in field goal attempts in Game 3. That cannot be the case here tonight if they want to seize control of this series or see it play out in a best of 3.
All right, let's check out the starting lineup for Boston. Brad Stevens has been going back and forth with a smaller starting 5, then a bigger starting 5. Tonight he'll go bigger with Amir Johnson, Crowder, Horford, Bradley, and Thomas. Washington, Porter, Morris, Gortat, Beal, and John Wall coming off that 116-89 win in Game 3 on Thursday night. Bradley Beal has been struggling from the field in the last 2 games. But Washington shot 47%. They led by as many as 30 points. Dan Crawford, Sean Corbin, Ron Garrettson, a veteran officiating crew here for game number 4. The 1 seed, Boston to the east. The 4 seed, Washington. The Wizards trying to even this series up. Gortat slaps it to the backcourt and Wall.
And the first quarter really has been the story for the Wizards. They've gotten off the terrific starts in every game. The one guy, though, that I think needs to have a great start for them is Bradley Beal. He has been a little below average here in this series.
They're averaging just under 40 points in the first quarter in the series. Shot clock is winding down. Porter connects. It's a long 2-pointer for Otto Porter.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, the energy on that possession defensively by the Celtics, very good. You'll live with those kinds of shots over the course of the game.
Boston shot just 35% in Game 3. Off the rim from Amir Johnson and rebounded by Porter. Celtics had won 6 straight playoff games before Thursday night. And the intensity level between these two teams has been very high. Beal, the leaner.
And on point there, not allowing Isaiah Thomas to hide. We saw the Wizards go to that consistently in Game 3, and a good job there of fighting through that double team for the floater.
Thomas got the body from Wall. Horford lines it up, and it's rebounded by Morris. Triggering the break. Wall slicing to the rim. He missed it. He tossed it up there. Gortat goes down. He got hit down low by Johnson, and the Celtics control. Cross court. Bradley lines up a 3. 1 and done for the Celtics.
And Brad Stevens talked about this prior to the game. He felt like they had opportunities in Game 1, just did not shoot the ball with any consistency. And then you couple that with the 16 turnovers, that's going to allow the Wizards to get out into the open floor.
Beal was trying to post up Thomas. 7 to shoot. Beal, jab step. The back hit. Turns and missed it. Gortat, he's been a rebounding machine in this series.
And even though that's a miss, because the Celtics are in help mode on that mismatch, as Wall misses there, but they'll draw that foul, it creates opportunities to attack that glass. But anytime you're peeking and trying to gauge whether or not you're going to bring help, that's going to create some offensive rebounding opportunities. You can see here just a little bit of a push by Bradley in the back on Morris.
So Bradley picks it up. 2 minutes gone by in this first quarter. Off the inbounds, Beal, they surrounded him. And now Porter controls it against Amir Johnson. Isolation. Porter makes his move. Plenty of time on the shot clock. It's all Porter right now, a switch. Clear it for Wall with 7. Wall, pull up, over Horford. Long rebound to Porter. Another board for Washington. Porter, the off-balance delivery doesn't go. Boston has opened up 0 of 3. Washington is 2 of 7 from the field.
Yeah, but they've gotten to the offensive glass, much like they did in Game 3. 13 offensive rebounds in that game as Thomas comes up a little short.
High Archer had to put it over Gortat. Wizards have missed their last 5 shots, yet they still lead at 4-0. Wall will handle it, defended by Bradley. High screen, Gortat. Gortat gets into it with Amir Johnson, looking for a call from Ronnie Garrettson, and he blows the whistle. It'll be Amir Johnson.
And that's one of the reasons why Amir Johnson's in here. They felt like the Celtics that they just need a little bit more toughness on that front line, and Amir Johnson can give them some post presence and hopefully help them control that defensive backboard.
Porter, he got 2 defenders in the air. Morris fakes out Horford. Pull up pop is good.
And good offense here early on by the Wizards. But Porter came up a little bit lame there on that possession.
Now he's lumbering. Matched up with Crowder on the other end. Boston, another slow start for the Celtics. Horford grabs it. Intercepted. Porter on a run out. Bradley tips the ball. Porter spins and scores.
Tell you what, the activity level here, the Celtics still on their heels offensively. Tentative, not aggressive, and not certain about what they're doing.
This is a team that was number 7 in the NBA in scoring, and they can't find a bucket. Crowder is fouled on the outside.
And you can see here trying to make a straight line pass, and Otto Porter just able to get into the passing lanes there. Great job of Bradley getting back to try to negate it, but still able to get the finish. 2
free throws here for Crowder. Watch enhanced coverage of tonight's game with TNT Overtime. Visit NBA.com or download the NBA app to start streaming. Crowder had 14.7 rebounds in the loss in Game 3. Celtics 23-18 on the road this season. 3-1 in the playoffs. First loss came the other night. Boston scores 3 minutes and 41 seconds in, and it's 8-2 Washington. Scott Brooks' squad. First quarters have been a clinic for the Wizards.
And as good as it's been, it also has kind of magnified their issues, right? The fact that when they do go to that supporting cast, the consistency hasn't been there as Beal unable to deliver from beyond on that possession.
In and out for Beal. Washington had a 22-0 run in the first quarter of Game 3. They led 34-12 at one point. Al Horford, it's a long 2-pointer. But that is a part of his game that has really developed over the last couple of years, his deep shooting.
Yeah, the 3-point shooting. Always been a really good mid-range shooter. He's added that to the repertoire. And also, he's a guy that they need to play big here on the road.
Beal, post up, gets around Thomas. Offensive foul, Bradley Beal.
Yeah, and this is where being shorter is an advantage for Isaiah Thomas, because that hook occurs up around his head.
Yeah.
And very easy for the officials to see.
It draws the attention of the officials against a normal-sized defender that might be in the midsection or lower. Inside the ball movement, Amir Johnson, the throwdown.
Again, it was Horford with the read there. The last possession, he knocks down the jump shot, and then they're able to find Johnson for the finish, and all of a sudden, those kinds of plays can settle down this Celtics team.
Pick and pop. Markieff Morris sticks it. You heard about the conspiracy theory in Game 2 that maybe it was his twin brother Marcus?
Could have been Marcus
Morris. This was like a Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap theme. Isaiah Thomas from deep.
And that's a great sign here early. Your 2 big guns, Horford and Isaiah, settling down this Celtics group here on the road. You know, I was told the way you can tell the Morris twins apart.
How's that?
Is that Marcus has a smaller head.
Really?
I've literally heard that.
Are you going to inspect it?
I may have to measure. I may have to measure and find out.
Markieff Morris bouncing back from the ankle injury. And it's an air ball from the outside. Thomas loops it ahead. Free safety, John Wall gets back to defend Horford.
And I tell you what, I thought that went off of Horford, but the officials are going to stay here with the Celtics. See here, it looked like Wall hits it initially. I tell you what, that's pretty close.
Yep.
Could have gone out of the way.
Boston on a 9-2 run. Celtics looking for their first lead. Bradley on a switch. Gortat backs off. Horford was turned around the wrong way, and a foul called in the backcourt as the Wizards We're looking to bust out in transition. It's Amir Johnson, and it's number 2 on the big man.
Yeah, and you know, you hate to see that when you're Amir Johnson, because it's not your fault you get the foul there. Avery Bradley gets caught in the air and throws a pass that's in no man's land, and then you ultimately end up with the foul there, his second.
Horford was expecting a shot from Bradley, so he was looking for the rebound, not looking for the pass. Wall drives around 2 defenders, but missed it on the interior. Crowder flicks it ahead for Bradley. Turns the corner. Scoop shot? No. Morris, lead feed for Wall. Thomas on his heels. We are under 6 minutes to go in the first. Morris misses it from the outside, and Crowder clears.
And already, if you're the Celtics, you got to feel great about how you've started here defensively, only giving up the 10 points midway through the first quarter.
Celtics took Washington's initial punch, and now the Celtics in front. Isaiah Thomas from long range.
And a lot of it's been their transition defense. Done a good job of when they've had turnovers or made mistakes, they've gotten back and been able to set their defense. And they've also contained Wall here as he's able to get the ball in there to Beal. Easy deuce there.
So we are tied at 12. We approach 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Boston now shooting it at 44%. Couldn't buy a bucket early. Washington is down to 40%. Bradley swinging around the perimeter for Crowder. Air ball on a long 2-pointer. Wall right down the middle. Nice pass to Porter. Chance at a 3-point play. John Wall pushing the tempo.
And that's one of the things about Otto Porter. He gives you great defense on one end, runs the floor, takes the hit, still able to finish there to get the crowd back into it here. Wizards by a deuce.
Back in Washington, let's bring in the third member of our broadcast team as we send it over to David Aldridge. DA?
Well, Ian, the NBA's decision to suspend Wizards forward Kelly Oubre for today's game was, in its view, an open and shut case. The league's vice president of basketball operations, Kiki Vandeweghe, told me this morning that the fact that Oubre took a running start towards Olynyk, followed by a two-handed shove in what was a dead ball situation, made the decision to suspend Oubre simple. Vandeweghe said you can't go run 20 yards full speed into somebody with a body block. Vandeweghe also told me that the league has no plans to further investigate the incident Saturday night between the Warriors' Kevin Durant and Utah's Rudy Gobert. Vandeweghe said the in-game decision by the game's referees to give Durant a technical and a flagrant one foul is sufficient resolution. Ryan?
All right, David, what was your take on what you saw in Game 3?
I thought it was the right call. First off, I didn't even think the screen was that egregious that Olynyk set. Now, oftentimes when plays like that manifest, it's a culmination of stuff that's going on over the course of the game. But I've actually liked what Oubre's done, and nice find again, Horford off good offensive execution there by the Celtics to get Jay Crowder going. You know, I just feel like in situations like that, if you're Kelly Oubre, you actually had a decent series. You've got to be smarter. You can't overreact. We know how much more physical the postseason is going to be, how much heated it is out there. You've got to maintain your cool because your team needs you.
Wall comes up short. Morris is there, but a foul is called on the rebound action. So Boston's going smaller here with Smart in the game, Amir Johnson now on the bench. What does Washington miss without the services of Kelly Oubre?
Well, it's his defense and activity, one, and particularly against Isaiah Thomas, because he's another guy that they put out there. He's also got his shot to three ball pretty well here in this series as Isaiah comes off and drains another triple there. And it also changes your rotation in terms of how Scott Brooks is going to go. Remember, I look at Kelly Oubre a lot like a middle reliever in baseball. He's a guy that eats up minutes for you there. Miscommunication by Wall and Beal.
Sloppy play from Washington. Thomas rebounded by Porter. Thomas is 3 of 3 from downtown. He's missed his two-point try. Slapped away. Wall was looking for a call. Bradley feeds it to the corner. Crowder just bounced it off of Gortat. Out of bounds with 16 to shoot.
Tell you, a really good job. You see Kelly Oubre's numbers here, and again, I felt like he's played pretty well in this series. And again, the offense is an added bonus. It's really about what he brings defensively for the Wizards.
Al Horford already has 3 assists in this first quarter. 3.5 to go in the first. Passing the ball around. Bradley, the recipient. It's a 3. Avery Bradley. You look at the three-pointers in this series. Boston had 19 to tie a franchise record in Game 1, 13 in Game 2, and then down to 10 in Game 3. It's an 8-0 run for the Celtics. Lob it up. Too high for Morris to catch it cleanly initially. Cut by Gortat, and it glances off his hands. Another turnover. Washington had just 10 turnovers in Game 3. A travel on Isaiah Thomas out front.
Yeah, he thought he was going to get Al Horford on the backdoor cut there. And just, it didn't come open, and he got caught there with kind of put his hand in the cookie jar. But, you know, one thing we've seen here early on, the Celtics, the priority always against the Wizards is to contain John Wall in transition. They've done a terrific job here as he goes to the bench of keeping him from getting those attacks at the rim.
Greg, they gave Avery Bradley 2 on that jump shot. They're going to look at it during the next timeout to see if it was a 3. Beal, the penetration. Helped by Horford in the block. Gortat, kick out off the offensive rebound. Otto Porter, splash from three-point territory.
And for a team struggling here offensively, those second shot opportunities there. Great effort by Gortat and recognition to get Porter on the wing.
And a hot start for Porter. He's in double figures with 10. 19-18 Celtics. Horford hands to Thomas. He got the step on Jennings. Off the double team. Bradley. Off the mark, rebounded by Bogdanovich, who had 10 boards in Game 3 to go along with 19 points. Bullet feed. Bradley, Beal on the cut, and Jennings with a terrific setup.
Yeah, a little bit differently, Jennings in terms of transition. Great find there by Beal to get that deuce here. It's been about the Wizards defensively here. And Jennings coming in with a nice little find for Beal.
Stat of the night presented by Corona Extra. First quarters in this series for Washington. Point differential in the first quarter, plus 49. Rest of the game, a minus 44. Field goal percentage, they shot 61% in first quarters, including 14 of 20 from three-point territory and limiting the turnovers, just 3 in the first quarter heading into this Game 4.
Yeah, they have been a juggernaut in that first quarter. Having said that, give Boston credit. Defensively, they've done a much better job here. As you see Kelly Olynyk checking into the lineup. I'm interested to see how the crowd responds to his voice when it's called out. But their defensive activity has been really good here. John Wall 0 for 4, nothing in the open floor, and that's going to be critical to their success.
And take a look at the matchup here. Rozier against Jennings. Both got tossed last game after receiving 2 technical fouls. Mahinmi in for Washington. They have given Bradley a 3-pointer after checking it on the monitor, so it's tied at 20. Off the miss by Smart, continues to struggle offensively. Jennings walking the tightrope against Rozier.
And Marcus Smart's going to be important. You heard Brad Stevens talk before the game. He's just a shot away or a deflection or a steal away from kind of getting his mojo back, which the Celtics need if they want to succeed on the road.
Bogdanovich, he took it at Olynyk and missed it badly on the running one-hander. Down to 1:19 to go. Opening quarter here in D.C. High screen from Olynyk. Bogdanovich sticks with Smart. Rozier, nice fake. Olynyk, a 3. Long rebound to Rozier. A reload for Boston. Smart, a triple. Book it.
And there you go. Again, it's been about those offensive rebounds. That time the Celtics able to track it down. Good rotation there, and that could be just what gets Smart going here.
Shot it at just 28% for three-point territory during the season. A bump on Beal. Mahinmi gives it up. No look feed from Jennings, and Porter coughs it up. Opportunity here for Crowder. Crowder is fouled hard by Bogdanovich. And Crowder had something to say. 5 turnovers in the opening quarter for the Wizards.
Yeah, and a lot of it is forced turnovers. The defense by the Celtics has been good. They've been the aggressors. And that's why you see the Wizards here, who typically do play so well in the first quarter, continue to struggle.
Celtics are 5 of 8 from three-point territory. Crowder wanted a shooting foul. Wizards had a foul to give. Olynyk getting booed by the Wizards fans. Crowder, jab step. Olynyk couldn't catch it initially, and a trip called. Wizards over the limit. Mahinmi.
It looked like, yeah, you can see the trip there as their feet collided, and Olynyk gets rewarded with a couple free throws.
Kelly Olynyk shoots it at 73% at the free throw line. In the playoff wins, Boston is averaging 112.2 points per game. In their losses, they're at 96 points per game. And put up just 89 in the Game 3 loss on Thursday night. Boston's lead is 4. 3-second difference, shot clock to game clock winding down in this opening quarter. Jennings against Rozier, 8 to shoot. Jennings crosses over. Jennings, the jumper. Rims out, rebounded by Bradley. Enough time for Boston. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Smart takes it in, it's blocked as time expires. 2 Wizards defenders there to meet Smart at the rim. And the Boston Celtics have a lead at the end of the first quarter for the first time in the series. Boston in front 2-1 in this best-of-7 Eastern Conference semifinals. They lead Game 4, 24-20 after 1 on TNT. Time for the Ford Coaches Corner. Moments ago, David Aldridge with Celtics head man Brad Stevens.
Thanks very much, Brad. Much better start tonight. What caused it?
Even when it was 8-0, then we were playing way better. Defensively, I thought our first possession was outstanding. And then offensively, we've gotten pretty good looks. We just have to knock them in.
How do you think Isaiah's done, and how has the rest of your team done in getting him good looks?
Yeah, I think we're working hard to do it, but they're putting a lot of attention on him, so he's going to have to be a passer as much as a scorer.
All right, David, some changes here to start the second quarter. Isaiah Thomas is in there with Rozier, Olynyk, Smart, and Jonas Jerebko seeing some early action. Question, who would get Kelly Oubre's minutes? The answer right now is Tomas Satoransky, who's on the floor with Mahinmi, Jennings, Beal, and Bogdanovic. Trying to set it up for Bogdanovic, and Olynyk steps in front off the errant pass by Jennings. Isaiah Thomas squeezes through on a kick. Olynyk does not take the 3. Smart does. Mahinmi keeps it alive, but Jerebko is there. Thomas, the jumper goes. Isaiah Thomas, perfect from three-point territory. 4 of 4 from beyond the arc. He's got 12.
And that's another 3 off of that offensive rebound. Jerebko coming in and immediately paying dividends.
And Beal is searching for his stroke. 7-0 run. Oh, Isaiah Thomas is lethal. 5 of 5 from three-point land.
And credit Brad Stevens. He has changed his lineup. He's gotten Isaiah Thomas in the game where the Wizards don't have the same kind of offense. And he is providing the spark here for the Celtics on the road.
Game. Download the free Bleacher Report app, brought to you by AT&T. To catch all the moments that matter, get the app to get the game. Isaiah Thomas, 15 points on 5 of 5 from three-point territory. The Celtics are 7 of 11 from downtown.
Yeah, and this is a big stretch here for the Wizards. And boy, I tell you, that is huge because you're down 10. John Wall continues to stay on the bench. So Scott Brooks rolling the dice a little bit here, and they were able to come out and get that triple off the timeout.
That ends a 10-0 Celtic run, bridging the first and second quarters. Smart to Olynyk, nobody there. Kelly Olynyk, big finish.
And remember, this is a group that doesn't have a lot of minutes together. We're talking about having Satoransky out there along with Mahinmi, and the rotation's not there defensively.
Well, think about it. Jennings, late season acquisition. Bogdanovic. Oh! Circus shot. Satoransky. Chance for 3.
And that's his game right there. Not going to space it as well as you see John Wall, but a guy that can slash and attack. He got the angle there on Jerebko, and then a great job with the hit and the finish. Olynyk thought he was vertical. What a finish there.
We asked Scott Brooks about Satoransky. He said he's impressed him with his size. He's got floaters. Maybe not the most athletic, but he makes the most of his abilities, was the quote. Trying that same play. This time Mahinmi is ready for Olynyk. Just over 2 minutes gone by in the second. 7-point lead for Boston. Olynyk twisting and turning. He'll go to the free throw line.
And part of the strategy here backfiring on the Wizards. The Celtics have put Isaiah Thomas in the corner, and Satoransky, by trying to deny, he's not the next guy there to provide help. And it's 2 possessions now where the weak side help wasn't there, and Olynyk and the Celtics made him pay.
And he sticks the free throw. 10-point lead for Boston. Early stages second quarter. This equals their largest cushion of the first half. Mahinmi against Olynyk. Double team. Rozier popped it free, but Satoransky retrieves it. 9 to shoot. Where's the offense going to come from on this second unit? Jennings takes a peek at the clock. 3, 2. Mahinmi. And a foul called. Complete bailout.
Yeah, that was Marcus Smart and the Celtics had done a really good job, and the reality is from where Mahinmi had caught the basketball, I don't know that he would have gotten off a good attempt there, but you like the aggressiveness from the Celtics standpoint defensively right now. They have the Wizards reeling with the basketball.
Jan Mahinmi, 57% shooter, appeared in just 31 games this season and missed the majority of the playoffs with a calf strain. Check out the upcoming series schedule. Game 5 back in Boston. We'll have it for you on TNT on Wednesday night. Friday, if necessary, back here in Washington on ESPN. And then Game 7, if needed, TNT will have your coverage on Monday, May 15th. Al Horford back in. Jonas Jerebko to the bench. John Wall, who is 0 of 5 from the field with 3 assists, is back on the floor, and Satoransky will sit. Jan Mahinmi knocks down the second. 35-26 Celtics. Thomas matched up with Wall. Smart, a high screen. Looking for Thomas. And saved by Wall.
Yeah, that was a great job by Wall with the denial that forced the inadvertent pass.
Bogdanovich telegraphed it, and Isaiah Thomas protecting himself as Wall was trying to get in front of him. 17 for Thomas. Morris, a corner jump. Rims out on a 3. Mahinmi couldn't catch it initially. Diagonal feed. Wall lines it up. No good on a 3-ball. And Jennings clears it. Bogdanovich, a triple. Long rebound to Thomas. Celtics have their largest lead. Thomas, the pass was tipped. Keep the ball moving. Olynyk. Jennings with the board.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good look there by Olynyk in transition, just unable to convert. Unfortunate last possession were the Celtics to not pick up or give up a basket after the 3 offensive rebounds.
Isaiah Thomas called on the foul.
And you just see it, just an ill-advised pass by Bogdanovich, and then the body control there by Isaiah Thomas. He didn't allow Wall to gather and contest until it was too late.
The last 4 games for Washington, 116 points, 119, 111, and 115. They've been held to 26. Miss on the interior as Wall goes down with Olynyk. 4-on-4 right now. Thomas a 3. And rebounded by Bogdanovich on the weak side.
I wasn't sure that we were going to see Isaiah miss a shot here.
He's 5 of 6 from 3-point territory. Meanwhile, the Wizards are 2 of 8 from downtown. Bogdanovich likes the matchup. Olynyk. He showed defensively. Bogdanovich, the turnaround. That's smooth.
And Bogdanovich is a guy who's going to have to give them a spark offensively off that bench, coming off a terrific performance in Game 3.
Bogdanovich went 4 of 7 from 3-point territory in Game 3. Al Horford, bullseye. It's a 3.
And this is the kind of response after the Celtics were beat down in Game 3 if you're Brad Stevens you were hoping for. They have been active and in sync on both sides.
Morris has not been heavily involved offensively. Good defense from Horford. Morris works his way in and misses on the floater. Morris thought he was hit. 12-point lead for the Celtics. 7 minutes to go, first half. Horford fakes on the three. Mahinmi tries to stick with him. Rozier just took his eyes off it momentarily. Out of bounds.
And now Horford, he's gotten going with his passing, and here, that ability to stretch it. Jan Mahinmi not comfortable playing the pick and pop there, and Horford made him pay.
We mentioned the development of Horford as a three-point shooter. In his first 8 seasons, he took 65 three-pointers. In the last 2 years, he has shot 498 three-pointers and upped his average. Wall still looking to get on the board. Gortat rolls down.
Yeah, and it really speaks to the evolution of the game, too, in terms of in the half court now, it's so much harder to defend because you have to defend so much more of the court, and especially when you've got 5 guys out there that can stretch it, puts a tremendous strain on you defensively.
And you would see similar numbers with Marc Gasol and Brook Lopez, bigs that are now three-point shooters. Wall harassed by Smart after the turnover and a foul.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it also is coaching, because this game is about confidence, and anytime your coach is telling you he wants you to do something, he's telling you you're capable of doing it. And Gasol, Horford, those guys, you see Wall working hard defensively. That's the second steal he's had in the last few possessions here, even though he's had his struggles in terms of converting.
John Wall at the free throw line, trying to crack the scoring column. Vote now for the 2017 NBA Fan Awards, including Dunk of the Year, Performance of the Year, and more. Vote at NBA.com/NBA Awards. Find out who wins the Fan Awards, plus Kia MVP and more at the 2017 NBA Awards, June 26th on TNT, hosted by Drake.
I know you're going to be tuning in from that. Drake not feeling real good right now.
No.
He was at the game earlier.
Toronto is out. Cleveland advances. You actually turned me on to Drake about 5 years ago.
Yeah. Drake's a bad boy, man.
Forever. And best I ever had.
Way to let everybody know you got some Drake on your iPad.
The language. Horford on a kick. Smart a three. Wall out-rebounds Bradley, and it's off to the races. Wall goes behind the back. Wall could not finish with the scoop, and it's knocked out of bounds off of Boston.
He doesn't get to finish here, and he continues to struggle. 0 of 9 from the field, but more importantly, he's staying aggressive. His team's going to need him to come up big if they want to even this thing up.
We're playing play to play, okay? Great job scoring, coming down, directing the ball, being up to touch, making everything difficult, rebounding every time. Every time the right way. Be us, no shortcuts.
40-year-old Brad Stevens, our inside tracks in his 4th year as the head coach of the Celtics. This season in Washington, lost by 25, no Horford in that game. That was in November. Lost by 15 in January, lost by 27 in Game 3. We asked Stevens about it prior to the game. He said, look, I talked to the team about how the intensity would be different here in D.C., and it is disappointing that we had to experience that in Game 3 for it to sink in. But certainly feel here in Game 4 it has sunk in for Boston. They've answered the bell.
They have, and that's what you want. And John Wall finally comes through. And having said that, though, if you're Washington, you got to feel good. I mean, Boston has played about as well offensively, over 50 from 3, 47 from the field. You're struggling to make field goals. John Wall at this point had been 0 for 9, and yet you look up and it's a 5-point game.
It's a 7-0 run for the Wizards. Porter back in. Bradley rises up, in and out. Gortat in for the board. Half-court set here for the Wizards. 5:20 to go in the first half. Wall, diagonal feed. Morris, extra pass. Porter. And Horford with the rebound. Rebounding numbers in Game 3, 50 to 38 in favor of Washington. Crowder missed it from the outside. The Wizards out rebounding the Celtics 21 to 16 in this first half. Wall goes behind the back with it. Bradley sticks with him. Now a switch. Wall over Horford. Off the iron, and Crowder up high for the board. The Wizards are at 38%. And Bradley, an open trip to the rim. Bradley with the stuff.
Great job there by Crowder on that kick ahead. that allowed him to get the attack. And you can see the struggles there of the backcourt of the Wizards here in this first half.
Wall has shot it at 50% from the field in the playoffs. Porter, a turnover. That's number 8 for Washington after just 10 turnovers in all of Game 3. Horford handles it on a switch with Bogdanovich. Smart has Gortat. Horford asking for it. Bogdanovich on an island. The cut. Oh, Smart got hammered. Foul is called as Morris extended out defensively and came down hard on Smart. He got tackled.
You see a good job of the pump fake there, and those are two big physical guys. And Smart will get to the line.
Marcus Smart, 81% shooter this season. 8 turnovers in Game 3. That's the most turnovers by a player in the playoffs off the bench since your former teammate Anthony Mason did it back in 1994.
Yeah, unfortunately, I remember that game.
Who was it against?
The Pacers. Indiana Pacers. We were fortunate enough to win the series, but it was made a little more tough for.
Little anecdote, just to tack on.
And Anthony Mason, though, was a terrific player and teammate. Miss him, passed away recently.
And he loved these moments, playoffs, intensity, physicality. Wall crosses over on Johnson, leans in for 2.
And that's a positive sign. And that's the one thing about the truly great ones. John Wall doesn't play the game as if he's 0 for 9. You know, his attack mentality and his leadership still evident here for the Wizards.
Bradley loops it. Horford against Gortat. Bradley misses it from the outside. Morris with a snatch. Wall gets the screen from Gortat. Shields, step back Jay, bottom.
And this is one issue with Amir Johnson. Not quite as good at containing the quickness of John Wall, who is kind of having his way here in this second quarter for the Wizards.
It's an 11-2 Washington run. Late stages of this second quarter, the Wizards trail the Celtics 42-39 in Game 4. Continue to refine, presented by 1800 Tequila, John Wall.
And he continues on his quest. And remember, it started off 0 for 9, but more importantly, never relented. Continue to stay in attack mode. And it's important because this team feeds off how John Wall plays. And if his energy level drops, I think it affects everybody else. Nice find again by Horford. They are slicing the Wizards with these hard cuts. And then Horford, such a brilliant passer, is finding these guys in rhythm for finishes.
They have 16 field goals, 12 assists. In the first round, they assisted 71% of their field goals made. That was the highest in the playoffs. They're at 67% in the second round. Second highest next to Golden State. So they spread the ball around, execute the offense. After the turnover, Thomas gives it up. Olynyk lines it up. Side rim on a 3-ball. And rebounded by Porter. 44-39 Celtics, 2:18 to go in this first half. John Wall, 9 points, 3 assists. He's had 20 points or more and 7 assists in 10 straight playoff games. Morris, kick out, nobody home. He threw it to a fan in the front row.
And mentally, if you're Scott Brooks, you got to be trying to figure out what is going on, because there have been a lot of careless turnovers. The first quarter, I thought it was more about Boston's defense. This quarter is just a lack of focus offensively by the Wizards.
Ball made it out to the outside, but Olynyk is off the mark. Boston now 8 of 17 from three-point territory. Wall, the cross, the spin. Oh, what a setup to Gortat! The roll to the rim, and John Wall has got incredible vision.
It's not that he makes the spectacular play, it's how easily he goes about doing it. That was not an easy play for him to convert.
Makes it look routine. Thomas amongst the trees, missed it. Trigger up the floor. John Wall, the speed. The trailer, Porter, he's fouled. Otto Porter stumbles down. And we'll head to the free throw line.
I mean, he goes where you think there's nowhere to go. And then here with the vision, not just to see it. Look at the foot control here. He gets tripped. Still the strength and presence to deliver a scoring pass. That was most impressive. It's one thing to see it, but then to deliver it where Gortat can catch and convert.
John Wall, consecutive playoff games, 20 points, 7 assists, single postseason. That's 9 straight. That's the most in NBA history. You got Jordan, you got Tim Hardaway on the list.
That's a pretty good list to be a part of. And we've seen some historic performances over the course of this postseason. None more impressive than what John Wall has done, as he's kind of introducing himself to the national stage here in this postseason.
And Scott Brooks echoed that sentiment, saying that it just feels like this year there's been more of an appreciation around the country for the kind of player that John Wall is. After the miss by Crowder, Wall takes it in. John Wall hard to the hole.
I just don't know. And Russell Westbrook, James Harden playing the point. Those are going to be two guys that are in that conversation. Nice follow-up there by Horford. But I don't know if there's a better combination of speed, athleticism, finishing ability, and vision than what John Wall incorporates into his game. I mean, his speed puts pressure on you. It's intimidating when you got a guy that good, that big, coming at you that fast.
All 11 of his points have come in the second quarter. Jump shot for Wall. Bottom! It's a triple! Washington back in front, 48-46. Thomas wheels inside and a foul called. That is the third team foul on the Wizards.
Partner, I just can't emphasize enough how impressive this is when you think about the guy started overnight. You know, a lot of times when guys get off to those kinds of starts, they start to say, okay, well, let me try to find some other way to impact the game, or I'm not going to look to stay as aggressive. And that has not been the case here for John Wall, and the Wizards are the beneficiaries.
Jason Smith in the game. He replaces Markieff Morris. 29 seconds to play in this first half. Thomas. A switch. Gortat has him on the perimeter. Thomas gets around him. Gets it to Horford on the interior. Isaiah Thomas setting things up nicely.
That's one of the better 1-2 combos you have. I mean, Thomas relentless at putting pressure on your defense, and Horford always seems to find the right spot on the floor.
Fans on their feet. Final seconds of the first half. Wall, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Gortat, the follow, he missed it. Marcin Gortat was by himself, could not get the bucket. We are tied at 48 at the break. They don't come much easier than that. After a quick break, we'll send it to Atlanta. American Express halftime report. Ernie, Kenny, and Charles. We've hit halftime here in D.C. Game 4, the Celtics leading this Eastern Conference semifinal series 2-1, but we are knotted up at 48 apiece. The NBA playoffs here on TNT. Action here in Washington. The Celtics and Wizards are tied at 48. Let's check out the game summary presented by Geico. Boston shoots it at 43%. They actually cooled down at the end of that second quarter. 8 of 18 from three-point territory. Washington turns it over 10 times, got just 5 points from their bench. Ian Eagle along with Greg Anthony, David Aldridge joining us as well. Celtics lead this series 2-1. And not surprisingly, once again, it's John Wall and Isaiah Thomas leading the way for their respective teams.
The heavyweights, literally, both guys. I thought Isaiah in that first quarter was brilliant. John Wall, after the great struggle early, got into a rhythm and got his team back in the game.
So the 17 for Thomas. Wall, all of his scoring in that second quarter. 5 of 17 overall after starting the game 0 of 9. Boston trying to take a commanding 3-1 lead in this series. Washington looking to even it up. The cut. Amir Johnson floats it up. No, but a foul On the receiving end was Bradley Beal, who picks up the personal.
Yeah, and you can see why Horford creates a problem for him. Those hard cuts, we saw the Celtics have a lot of success with that early on, and Horford playing out that mid-post when he's looking to be a facilitator, and did a great job in that first half with 5 assists.
Amir Johnson, who has not played much of a role in this series or in the playoffs in general, getting the start once again. Gerald Green had been in the starting lineup. They made the switch during the Chicago series, and it worked. But Brad Stevens told us before the game, look, we went back, we looked at the tape, we went back to the regular season just to see tendencies, and we decided that Amir was the better way to go. He also added, it's not about the 5th starter. He tried to tell his team, it's about everybody collectively.
Yeah, and anytime you are the ones making adjustments, that means that you feel like you're not good in some areas, and that can take confidence away from the team.
Gortat had it blocked by Johnson. Crowder on the push. Celtics get into the offense early here with Horford. Hands it to Thomas. Big first quarter for Thomas. Finished with 17 and a half. Horford. Thomas had it deflected out of bounds. Let's check in with David Aldridge. DA?
Well, and the Wizards had the feeling they dodged a bullet in the first half, as well as Boston played coming out of the shoot, and as well as Isaiah Thomas shot the ball. Scott Brooks said, we played terribly, and the score is tied. He said the one biggest mistake that they made was they just gave Isaiah Thomas way too many open threes. He said we cannot afford to let Isaiah Thomas have those kinds of open looks.
Well, they just gave Amir Johnson an open 3, and he nailed it. 41% on the season, and Johnson playing a role here. 53-48. Celtics back in by Beal, slapped away. Out of bounds with 2.7 on the shot clock.
One thing about Isaiah Thomas, even though slight in stature, he physically is really strong. And he's got that lower center of gravity that allows him to maintain position on that block.
Have to work quickly. Does Beal know it? Beal contested. Off the rim. Morris gathers, and a foul called. Markieff Morris with the offensive rebound. And a hack on the interior. That is number 3 on Crowder. TNT's The Dunk King, presented by 5 Hour Energy, is returning for its 2nd season. Find out who wins $100,000 in the title of The Dunk King, beginning after Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals right here on TNT. Rebounding totals in favor of Washington, 29-19. Morris, it's been quiet for him on the offensive end. 5 points. He does have 6 rebounds. And tack on another point for Markieff Morris.
And, you know, you heard D.A. talking about Scott Brooks. In a lot of ways, I think both coaches felt better about their teams overall, because the Celtics, notoriously slow starters, especially on the road against this team, did a really good job defensively, and Isaiah responds as he turns it over there to Wall.
Wall intercepts the bounce pass. Wall is a blur.
He's got a couple extra gears that he can go to.
That ball was tipped, allowing Thomas to go back and get it. 13 to shoot. 1-point game with just about 2 minutes gone by in the 3rd. Thomas goes cross court. Crowder. One dribble, the pump fake. Missed it from the outside. Morris the rebound.
A much better job by the Wizards with their pick and roll defense on Isaiah. Haven't let him turn the corner or split them as Wall comes up short there.
Horford took it away from Gortat. Gets it ahead for Bradley. One-on-one against Morris. Washington had a chance to regain the lead. Bradley isolation. 10 to shoot. Screen, Horford. Switch. Horford's got Morris with 5 on the timer. The back end, bumping bodies with 2, with 1. Horford missed an air ball. Shot clock violation.
And that's a terrific possession defensively, in part because weak side, they didn't allow any action to where Horford could cut them up with his passing, forcing him to try to score against the contest from Morris.
So Boston is down to 42% shooting. And once again, Washington can go back in front. Beal puts it on the deck, loses it. Out of bounds as Horford tried to save it. Amir Johnson came down the floor. He was laboring a bit. Johnson has not seen a lot of minutes in this postseason.
You trying to say he's fatigued?
Just pointing out an observation. You're inferring things. Foul call before the release. It's going to be the second team foul against Boston. And the third personal on Amir Johnson. So Johnson has 3. Crowder has 3. Gerald Green has seen no action tonight after starting the previous game. Didn't see any action in game 2. The spin by Wall. Bradley cuts off the angle. Shot clock at 3. Wall, step back Jay. Rims out. Gortat keeps it alive. Beal a 3. Book it.
I tell you what, the activity here by the Wizards on that offensive glass, Gortat and Morris working very hard, creating second chance opportunities.
And a 7-0 run for the Wizards to take a 2-point lead. The bounce to Thomas, lost his footing, kicks it out. Horford doesn't take it. Thomas against Gortat. Thomas goes around him. Baseline. Another shot clock violation. Boston lost track of the time.
And give the Wizards credit defensively. See Gortat with the tip, Morris with the secure, and Beal with the triple for the Wizards there. And then on this last possession, Gortat, great discipline on Isaiah Thomas, deciding I'm going to make you a driver, trusting that the help would be there, and it delivered on that possession.
Boston has turned it over 3 times in the third quarter. Morris repost for Beal. Taking it at Thomas, the turnaround.
And that's a great job of discipline by Beal on that repost, and also not allowing Thomas to take advantage of the quickness, just rising up above with the finish.
It's a 9-0 run for the Wizards. Thomas splits defenders, drives in. Bench shot, no. Beal gets it ahead for Wall. 3 defenders back for Boston. And now Wall waits for his teammates to make their way down the floor. Wall makes his move. No look. Gortat the catch and the delivery. John Wall with eyes in the back of his head.
Nobody does it any better than John Wall. Beautiful no look. Gortat with the hands and the finish in the crowd right now.
Back at the Verizon Center, let's check out the upcoming schedule presented by IBM. Coming up next here on TNT, the Spurs and the Rockets. Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller, Allie LaForce have got you covered. Tomorrow night on TNT, the Warriors and the Jazz out west with Brian Anderson, Kevin McHale and company. Defensively for the Wizards in the playoffs, the 5 wins, they've held their opponents to 99 points per game, and the 4 losses, completely different statistic, nearly 120 points allowed per game.
Yeah, and sometimes your offense doesn't give your defense a chance, and we saw that at times in the first half with all the turnovers. But this third quarter, after those first 2 possessions, they have been locked in and in tune with one another here in the half court.
Amir Johnson opened up the third quarter with 5 straight points. Washington has since gone on an 11-0 run. No other Celtic has scored here in the third, and Johnson is now on the Boston bench.
And remember how the first quarter started? It was about Horford and Thomas kind of setting the tone to settle down this Celtics team.
Marcus Smart in. Crowder. The 3-ball goes off the rim, and Wall comes away with the board. 16 points, 5 assists for John Wall. Beal has 14. Porter has 12. Wall off the double team. Morris is left open. Sticks it. It's a 3.
Just another great read there. There was nobody to rotate weak side, and Morris all day to kind of line that one up.
Washington extends the lead 62-53 thanks to a 14-0 run. Porter the steal. Porter streaks in for the throwdown. Thomas nearly had his pocket picked. Washington now in front by 11. Largest lead of the night for the Wizards. Smart drives in. Outside Bradley. They need it. Gortat couldn't grab it. Slap to the outside. Beal with a left-handed feed for Wall. Wall runs into Thomas, and he takes the ball away.
That was just a great job of anticipation there by Thomas to come up with that steal.
Bradley lost it. The Celtics have been stymied, and John Wall accelerates to the hoop. Opportunity for three.
You heard Charles Barkley at halftime talk about John Wall maybe being the second best point guard in the league and arguably the second best player in this Eastern Conference. And I'm here to tell you, with how he's performed this postseason, he is letting there be no doubt.
Fast break points now 15-5 in favor of Washington. It's been a 19-0 explosion for the Wizards. Horford looked back door, but Wall had it covered on Bradley. Thomas trying to get involved. Double team. Now single coverage with Beal. Smart loses the basketball. Porter to Beal. Layup is good and a foul. The Wizards are taking advantage of all of Boston's mistakes.
Well, it's the activity level and the commitment defensively by the Wizards here. A beautiful finish after contact by Beal, but it's been about what Wall and Beal, Porter, Morris, Gortat, what they are doing defensively, how in tune they are. That is what's kind of turned the table here in this third quarter.
Kelly Olynyk in, adding more fuel to these Wizards fans. 6 turnovers in the third quarter for Boston. The Wizards have put up 24 points off of Boston's turnovers. It's a 22-0 run.
Remember, they had that same run in the last game, and the thing about this is you're going to get an offensive foul. The importance of this run also, though, is that I really felt like John Wall may not come out in the second half. This is almost like a 7th game mindset if you're the Wizards. 2-1, that 4th game on your home floor, you can ill afford to go down 3-1 knowing you got to go back on the road. And I really believe Scott Brooks would have kept him in. Now, with this lead, potentially he's going to have the luxury to give him a blow.
Gerald Green is in for Boston. Wall. Oh, ball handling wizardry. John Wall finds the angle. 24-0 burst from the Wizards. Thomas loses it. Another turnover. Wall, the no-look shot. He's a highlight machine. Otto Porter with a finish.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, is playing the point guard position on both ends any better than John Wall.
It's a 26-0 sprint for Washington. It's gotten away from the Celtics here in the third. Now Boston continues to turn the ball over, and the Wizards take advantage of it.
Yeah, sometimes they're unforced, but in this third quarter, it's been about the activity level of the Wizards. They've been active, they've been aggressive, and they've been the ones that have set the tone for how this half is going to be played.
Greg, in the third for Boston, 8 turnovers, 5 points, and tack on 2 more as Horford gets to the hoop. Nice feed on the inside, but they have faced a Wizards barrage that ends a 26-0 run. Smart goes for the steal, and it's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Wall.
Yeah, and that's a good way to start. I mean, even though they've been hit with a sledgehammer here, the Celtics, 4.5 here to go in the third, still plenty of time to kind of ease your way back into the game.
Thomas missed it on the interior. It's 5-on-4. Thomas late to get back. Wall intercepted by Green, and Thomas was already in the right spot as he lays it in.
And that a little bit of carelessness here to start coming out of that timeout, I should say, and that's 2 quick turnovers and easy ones for the Celtics.
A delay of game called against Isaiah Thomas, who caught the ball after the layup. 74-57. Fast break points now 21-7 for Washington. Morris pulls the trigger and connects. It's a 3.
And that was just great execution. Horford was thinking he was going to have to help off a curl, and Morris just stepped back and delivered.
Smart answers with a triple. Washington is shooting at 73% in the third quarter. What had been first quarter problems for Boston have been third quarter problems tonight. Bradley Beal, it's a three.
And that's one of the easier looks out of offensive execution we've seen for Bradley Beal in this entire series.
Smart drive and kick. Horford lines it up. Off the back of the iron, long rebound to Wall. Wall, hyper speed, missed it. Foul called.
The Celtics really have done a pretty good job on Beal, but you see here, there's no resistance, catches in rhythm, and that's just too easy.
Beal has 20 points, 3 of 6 from downtown. John Wall, 21 points, 9 assists. So yet another playoff game with at least 20 points and 7 assists. He's done that in every postseason game during this run for Washington. The first round series victory over the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games, and it's continued right into the conference semifinals for John Wall.
And you also got to factor in defensively the impact he has on the game as well. He is a complete player, ever improving in terms of the jump shot, but everything else is as good as it gets.
Greg, in this third quarter, Washington has made more shots than Boston has taken. 12 makes for Washington. That's the 12th attempt for the Celtics. And a foul called on Gortat.
And we've really seen this in every game in this series where the home team has come out and kind of just thrown that haymaker for which the visiting team has not been able to recover.
Home team has won every game in this series, but go back to the regular season. In the 4 meetings, home team won all 4 of those matchups.
And really, none of them have been close. We had the overtime game in game 2, which was a classic. But for the most part, it has been a dominant performance by the home team.
The Wizards trailed by as many as 12. Foul is called. It was Jennings trying to stick with Thomas out on the perimeter. But Washington this season had a knack for rallying from double-digit deficits. They won 17 games this season when they trailed by double figures.
And a lot of that is because of what they've been able to do at times defensively. And there it is again.
A strip. Otto Porter gets it back for the lay-in. Good teamwork, Morris and Porter.
And how good, you know, we've talked so much about the point guard matchup, but how about the swing position for the Wizards these last 2 games? Is Smart unable to get that, and they're going to get Olynyk with the push-off. But Morris and Otto Porter have really been terrific here tonight on both ends.
Morris with 12 points and 8 rebounds. Porter has gone for 18. And it's not an eye-popping 18. It's one of those where you look up at the box score, you're like, wow, he's got 18, huh?
But what it is with Porter and Morris, those guys complement Wall and Beal. I mean, it's about your chemistry. It's not always about the 5 best players. It's about those 5 that fit best together. And those guys are terrific complements to the way Beal and Wall play the game.
Celtics are over the limit. The E-League Street Fighter 5 Invitational continues the fight on TBS this Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. I believe the fans were chanting Kelly Oubre's name. I guess a little reminder to Kelly Olynyk.
Do they know that
he's not here? He's not here. Not allowed. Well,
yeah,
we believe that. That's
like
not
to see that. He could be an inspirational leader tonight.
Well, he'll be back for game number 5, which will be in Boston on Wednesday night. Rozier, the jump shot goes down. Terry Rozier. He has carved out a nice little role for himself in this postseason, and the trust level is going up for Brad Stevens.
Yeah, his improvement from last season to this. And even though we haven't seen him the way this game is going, we may. Jaylen Brown similarly has really improved from the beginning of the season.
Bogdanovich He got caught in the air and he turns it over. Washington 13 of 17 from the field in the third quarter. That's 77%. 86-63 Wizards. Horford tried to fake out Mahinmi. The post up. Rozier may have jammed his finger on the play. The jump shot doesn't go yet. He's checking that hand. And here's Wall. Somebody's got to check him. Wall's pull up. Olynyk got his hands on it. Tracked down by Bogdanović. And a reset for the Wizards.
Yeah, they seem to have gotten to every loose ball here in this third quarter. Sorry, partner.
He is going to the free throw line because Boston's over the limit. He can add to his point total of 23 points, 9 assists. Terry Rozier flexing that hand. The rebounding numbers, Greg, it's lopsided. Yeah. 38-22. Big leads throughout this series for Washington. Only one win, though, coming into tonight's Game 4. They relinquished a 17-point lead in Game 1, relinquished a 14-point lead in Game 2. Game 3 was a completely different story. They started out hot, and it continued. Boston had no answers. Tonight, Celtics put together their best first quarter of the series and played well in that first half, but Washington felt like it was a win that they were tied at the break.
They had to. They had to. And I think the confidence really started to soar because I think they were confident even down early because John Wall, even though he was 0 for 9, the truly great ones are going to figure out a way to put their imprint on the game. And the way he finished that second quarter, it kind of built that momentum and carried over into the third.
He's 8 of 14 since those first 9 misses to start the game. Smart draws the foul. 58.9 left on the clock here in the third. Smith shrugging his shoulders. You look at the way this team is put together. Washington is looking for more out of its bench. We've seen Bogdanović at times in this postseason step forward. Now Mahinmi is part of the action. Jason Smith played well in the first round series, but how important is the starting 5 for Washington? They are a plus 78 in the playoffs. That's the best of any 5-man group in the league this postseason.
I mean, that is really impressive. And, you know, a lot of times it's hard to really get a fingerprint of your team until the postseason, because that's when you really get an understanding of who you are and what you have. And that's something Ernie Grunfeld and his group will be able to maybe address in the offseason. But right now, you just got to figure out a way, and that's what they've been doing here thus far.
Wall, that's an air ball. Smith could not save it. 38.1 left on the clock. Washington leads it by 24 here at the end of the third quarter, winding down.
And really, whether you can come back and win this or not, if you're Boston, you want to get a good rhythm. You want to get guys who've been struggling, as Olynyk will find himself getting to the line. You want to get guys who've had struggles like Marcus Smart, Kelly Olynyk. You want to get them going. Avery Bradley. You want to get their confidence back. Remember, this is a young group, and yeah, they've had some success this postseason, but their confidence still at times ebbs and flows based on whether or not they're making shots.
Substitution here for Washington. Bradley Beal checking in. Smith will head to the bench. Boston went 2 for 1 as Olynyk was fouled in the act. This game was tied at 48 at halftime. Washington 40 points in the quarter. 2 out of 2 for Kelly Olynyk. Off the bench with 10. Isaiah Thomas had the great start, but stuck on 19.
Yeah, he really credit the job that the Wizards have done on him defensively. And his energy level doesn't seem to be quite the same as we saw in those first 2 games.
Wall to Mahinmi, and he wanted a call. Final seconds of the third. Bradley gives it up, and Smart is fouled as Wall went by. 5.7 left on the clock. Smart going to the free throw line.
Smart, I thought he was ready to pull the trigger on that, but he'll get to the free throw line. And again, this is, if you're the Wizards, a little lax here the last few possessions, and that can happen when you get the big lead. They've got to realize they got to get back to that intensity they had there that created this lead.
Smart hits on a pair. 88-68. 4 seconds left in the third. Wall loses the ball. They got a foul call just as time was expiring. They're going to head over and check it out.
I think they know they have the foul, and that'll put him on the free throw line. They got to check to see where the clock was. And you can see here the foul comes in there.
Yep.
So definitely.
Yeah, 0.5, 0.6. So they'll head to the replay center.
Are you a fan of the replay center?
I am. I think ultimately you want to get it right.
Yeah.
And I believe that the league has done everything possible to streamline this process and get officials working in the replay center that also bring an opinion.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I do like it overall. I think the intent is great. And you see, take a look at the shot clock there. 0.6. Clock was off, remember. That was just the actual game clock we were looking at.
They're going to put 0.7 as Wall was hit right there. John's going to the free throw line, so whatever the result was of the clock, as long as there was time remaining, Wall was going to get free throws. He's got 25 points, 9 assists. Washington has not been to the conference finals since 1979. That year they lost in the NBA finals to the Seattle Supersonics. The architect of this team, Ernie Grunfeld.
My former boss.
That's right.
The Knicks. And he's done a terrific job of getting the right pieces. A lot of people were not happy about Otto Porter early on, who's matured and developed into a terrific player.
Had a stop in Milwaukee in between these stints. Bradley at the horn. That shot nearly went down. The Wizards outscore the Celtics 42-20. Somehow John Wall ended up behind the front row.
Maybe he was getting popcorn.
A dominant third quarter for the Wizards. They are 12 minutes away from tying this series at 2 games apiece. 90-68 after 3, the NBA playoffs on TNT.
Don't relax. What God is this? And stop. Hands, aggressive. You guys are good. But I didn't think you were going to be this good. But let's keep this up right here. Let's keep this up.
Inside tracks. Honesty.
Yeah.
That's the best policy, Greg.
I don't think Brad Stevens thought they were going to be this good either. I mean, the way they came out in that third quarter, especially when you saw the Celtics seem to have figured out how to compete here on the road.
Morris missed it. First possession of the fourth quarter, 90-68. The Wizards in front. Iron Eagle, Greg Anthony, David Aldridge, and the rest of our NBA on TNT crew. Kelly Olynyk inside the arc. Producer Ross Schneiderman, director Rich Russo.
And that action they just ran hard to guard, where they basically invert. They have the guard setting the pin down on the big, and bigs aren't used to chasing. And Bogdanovich hard drives will not get the call.
Third quarter, 26-0 run. They were 1 point shy of the team playoff record for points in a quarter. Have to go back to 1971 when they put up 43 points against Philadelphia. 42 points tonight in the third. Shot clock winding down. Beal challenging Crowder, gets around him, and the scoop to the hoop for Bradley Beal.
How about the third quarter stats? 3 players for the Wizards scored in double figures just in the quarter. That is incredible.
4 players overall in double digits. 27 for Wall, 22 for Beal, 18 for Porter, 14 for Morris. For the Celtics, Isaiah Thomas leads the way with 19 points. John Wall getting a breather, 12 points for Olynyk, 11 for Horford. Olynyk driving on Mahinmi, backdoor to Crowder.
And again, same action. Mahinmi not nearly as comfortable out in space. And the Celtics taking advantage here to start the fourth.
Mahinmi playing with 4 fouls, may have backed off just a tad defensively.
No, that's not what happened. That's not what he does well. He's not going to guard well out there.
I'm trying to give the guy whose name is IAN a little bit of slack.
Okay, Jan.
You're going to call me Jan from now on?
Well, it's IAN, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
When we're in Paris, you can call me Jan.
All right. We'll catch up with you at the French Open.
And it's going the other way. So Washington trying to get the carryover from the third quarter to the fourth quarter. Been a little spotty.
Yeah. Again, one of the things that's most difficult, anytime you get up big like this, you can tend to start to play not to lose. And when you're down big, you play like you got nothing to lose.
Crowder the fade. In and out. Mahinmi grabs it. Washington maintains a big lead. 20-point advantage for the Wizards. Beal gets around 2 defenders. And it's Crowder who draws the assignment with 10 to shoot. Isolation. Beal, crossover. Beal, the penetration. Kick. Jennings a corner 3. Mahinmi the offensive board. It's Beal! Two-handed flush.
And how about the find by Mahinmi on that play? Great vision by the big fella.
24 for Beal. Second chance points 20-8 in favor of the Wizards. Rozier showing off the repertoire.
I tell you, Rozier is a competitor. He will not shy away from the challenge going up against Brandon Jennings.
Foul is called on Crowder as Morris was started to make his spin move to the rim. That's 5 on Crowder.
And just great effort here by Mahinmi. He looked a little like Iron. I almost called him Iron instead of Jan on that play there. But that was a beautiful find. And, you know, we talked about the top. Bradley Beal also, how he was going to have to play well. And he stepped up here tonight as well.
Bogdanovich. It's a triple. Bojan Bogdanovich off the bench. 97-74. Lob it up. Olynyk the catch and the deuce. Timeout called by Scott Brooks with 9:01 to play in the fourth quarter. Washington still comfortably in front, but coach of the Wizards not thrilled with what he's seen 3 minutes into the fourth. Game 4. Fourth quarter action continues on TNT. GA, you would do some serious damage in there.
Man, I'm about to get one of those for the crib.
You are.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're like the Orville Redenbacher of basketball analyst.
Yeah.
You can't get enough.
I can't. I eat it all game. I eat it at home. My favorite snack. May not be as intense as he was.
No, he was really into his popcorn.
Yeah, I don't know. He must have had some hot buttered popcorn. The way he was reacting.
97-76. The Wizards, big lead. Morris, the layup goes down. Washington on the brink of cracking 100 with more than 8 minutes to go in this fourth. That's 10 assists now for Wall, a double-double to go along with his 27 points.
That's hard action to guard because they empty out the weak side and they run that pick and roll back towards the strong. And because of Wall's presence, he's able to deliver it in rhythm and nobody there to provide help as Crowder gets that deflected out of bounds.
Good defense from Bogdanovich on Crowder. 6 remaining on the 24 for Boston. 42% shooting for the Celtics. They are 11 of 26 from three-point territory, also 42%. Shot clock winding down. Turnover. Wall, stutter step, around the world, and out of bounds. Last touch by Wall. The combination of John Wall and Bradley Beal, between them, 51 points. Rozier to the hole. It's good, and a foul.
A nice strong finish there by Rozier. You just talked about it, the numbers. And what's impressive is if you go back, remember Wall started 0 of 9. And Beal, to me, his best performance in this series here tonight. He was terrific.
Jennings sits. Otto Porter replaces him. Porter's got 18 points and 7 rebounds.
We talked about Morris working on a double-double, 16-9. He's also got 5 assists in the game as well.
42 points in the paint for Washington. They had 56 in the Game 3 victory the other night. 99-79, the Wizards in complete control. Bodies flying. Thomas and Morris hit the hardwood. It's Isaiah Thomas picking up the personal, number 3.
And you see a lot of teams run that action where they try to run the guard up the free throw line and then close the gap with 2 screeners. Thomas unable to get through it.
Greg, Isaiah Thomas has not attempted a free throw tonight. Bogdanovich, the curl, and a foul called. 8-minute mark of the 4th. Bogdanovich heads to the stripe. 14 fouls against Boston. Let's check out the national TV upcoming schedule. Up next, the Spurs and the Rockets, Game 4 with San Antonio leading the series 2-1. Tomorrow on TNT, the Warriors are at Utah, trying to wrap up the series. Saturday, May 13th, WNBA tip-off presented by Verizon, the Seattle Storm and the LA Sparks, 5 p.m. Eastern. Washington is now 20 of 22 at the free throw line. Wizards shooting 50% from the field. Rozier with a purpose. Rebounds his own miss. But Beal steps in front of Olynyk for another steal. Wall, the cutter. Extra feed, Porter. Surrounded there. Morris. That's intercepted by Crowder. Rozier right down the middle. Oh, it's blocked by Beal. A foul has been called. And Beal just walks away from Ronnie Garrettson.
Yeah, that's all you can do. He felt like he got all ball on that. I'll tell you what, it looked good initially. Got a little bit of hand there. I'll let you read his words there.
Yep.
Read his lips, partner.
I think I got the message.
Yeah.
I think the officials did as well.
Something with bull. I don't
Thanks.
know.
Thanks for filling in the blanks. Rozier will get another free throw. And Beal now making his case after he had a little bit of a cool down period.
Yeah.
Rozier, 10 points in 14 minutes for the second-year guard from Louisville. Youngstown, Ohio native. Taken 16th overall in the 2015 draft. Wall off the dribble. Bradley there. Holds his ground. 6 to shoot. Screen from Morris. Wall. Spin. Gives it up. Morris. Ball fake. Steps in for the J. And rebounded by Rozier. He lost it. Off the ricochet. Bogdanovich regathers and scores.
And it's been those kind of plays there by Otto Porter, by Beal and Wall, by Morris. The deflections, the activity, just staying after it. And Porter with another rebound.
Al Horford, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Washington is 50% from the field, 43% from 3, 91% of the free throw line. And a foul called, Isaiah Thomas. That's number 4 on Thomas.
And they've continued to also try to attack Isaiah Thomas. And they mixed it up, you know, running him off screens, posting him, just making sure he's going to have to expend energy defensively.
I think that's been a huge difference from the Game 2 Isaiah Thomas performance that you and I saw in Boston and what we've seen now, Game 3, Game 4. They're making Thomas work on the defensive end. They're finding him.
Yeah.
Boston can't hide him, and a technical has been called.
And there's some frustration, obviously, in how things have played out really in these last 2 games for Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas with the tee. Beal at the free throw line. Jaylen Brown has checked in for Crowder. So Beal gets to pad the numbers. 26 now for Beal. And he has another free throw coming. He's 10 of 15 from the field. And that'll probably do it for Isaiah Thomas. 6:38 to play. Thomas exits with 19 points, just 2 in the second half.
Yeah, and what's most surprising is the fact that he only got the 3 attempts. Remember, he's coming off a playoff career low in game 3 in terms of attempts from the field, and that's a concern for the Celtics. And, you know, we touched upon at the start of the game how testy and physical the series had gotten. Not overly physical tonight, but still a bit testy.
Rozier between the legs. Misses the jump shot. And for Isaiah Thomas, no free throw attempts. That number stands out.
And again, I got to give a lot of credit to the Wizards in terms of their ability, and you get a loose ball foul there against Bogdanovich, of not allowing him to dictate offensively. They stayed home longer on the pick and rolls, did a good job of not allowing him to turn the corner or split, and really forcing him to give it up at times. And the rest of the Celtics really were unable to deliver and produce consistently.
Halfway point of the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown, the rookie's 3 is good. It rattles in for Brown. Brad Stevens will go deep into his bench. Tyler Zeller has not had a role in this series. Porter using the Morris screen, a switch. Bogdanovich looking down low. Brown getting physical with Morris. 5 to shoot. Morris makes his move, flips it up. No, rebounded by Brown. And a double dribble. Jaylen Brown, the turnover. That's 19 for the Celtics. 106-84 Wizards. 5:27 to go in the fourth. Smooth finish of the game presented by Gatorade Flow.
Well, and after he got off to a rough start, going 0 for 9, he did get pretty smooth and refused to let the smooth taste fool you with John Wall with this nice find of Otto Porter.
John Wall has led the way with 27 points, 10 assists, 9 of 9 at the free throw line. And Wall's still in there with 5:22 to go. And the team up 106-84. Wall against Green. Tyler Zeller is in. Smith couldn't grab it. Knocked away. And here come the Celtics. Rozier. It won't go. He missed the jam, but he's fouled. And John Wall helps him to his feet.
Rozier knows Wall's coming and just unable to get that to go. A little bit of contact there. Not a lot.
He just landed awkwardly.
I may have to take that back. Not sure if there was any contact.
May have been a phantom foul just based on the way Rozier came down on the play. Well, the postseason, 15.92, highest margin of victory, conference semifinals, the second round. 1947, the only one higher, 17.17.
You got to go all the way back to the year you were born.
What?
Bird.
Hello?
Come up with that record.
Let me do the math there. 106-85. First year of the NBA was 1946-47.
That's amazing. And you think about it, only one game in this round has been less than double figures. That was today, the closeout game by the Cavs.
That's hard to believe. Smart with a steal. This fourth quarter has not been a piece of art. With 4:37 to go. Rozier with a finger roll. And Washington just looking to get to the finish line here. 13 for Rozier in 18 minutes for Boston. Smith on the outside. Wall to Bogdanovich with 6 to shoot. The fadeaway. Yes.
That is a tough shot by Bojan right there.
Bojan Bogdanovich, who will be a free agent at the end of the season in his third year in the NBA. And I think the Wizards have been happy with the acquisition, gave up a first-round pick to get him from the Nets. Zeller the lay-in.
Went Euro on him with that.
He did.
He may have thrown an extra step or two in there, but your point about Bogdanovich, I think he's got to be a priority for them in the offseason, because for a team that struggles with bench production, he has been the one constant since he's come over.
The push shot from Bradley Beal, 29 for Beal. 11 of 16 from the field. The starters for Washington have outscored Boston starters 96-48. They've doubled them up as Zeller gets the finish. John Wall, 3:20 to go in this fourth quarter. He remains in there. The relationship with Wall and Scott Brooks. Wall, the bullet feed to the baseline. The layup goes for Bogdanovich. We asked Scott Brooks, did you talk to John Wall about your dynamic with Russell Westbrook? He said, no, I never mentioned it. It was Wall who started asking questions as they got deeper into the season. Scott did not want Wall to think, hey, I'm just going to give you everything I did with Russell. Yeah. This is a fresh relationship.
And you see the crowd giving him their appreciation for what he's done. 27 points, 12 assists. And listen, I think John Wall, being the competitor he is and being a great player in his own right, I think he can appreciate the dynamic that Scott Brooks had with Russell Westbrook, not to mention the success that that group had together. Rozier knocked down his free throw.
Wholesale changes here. Porter to the bench, along with Beal and Wall. And now Bogdanovich will join them. Trey Burke is in. He was the backup point guard before they acquired Brandon Jennings. Sheldon McClellan, the rookie out of Miami, and his former head coach, Jim Larinaga, is in attendance.
I had a chance to talk to Coach a little bit before the game.
His son Jay's an assistant with the Boston Celtics. Satoransky in as well for Washington. James Young on the floor for Boston. Final 2 minutes and change. Smith on a cut to the rim, 114-92. The Wizards up big. Brown defended by Burke. To the corner, Gerald Green. Rainbow three goes.
Still thinking about that game Gerald Green had in Chicago when Brad Stevens inserted him in the starting lineup, and boy, did he pay big dividends on the road.
Satoransky, the drive and the flip. 116-95.
Partner, it's going to make for an interesting environment up in Boston come Wednesday night. 2-2 series tied. Both teams have been in control for the most part on their home floor.
Satoransky is hacked. Well, Greg, your former head coach, Pat Riley, he said the playoffs don't start until the road team wins a game.
So we will possibly be starting them in Game 5, or will we? Will the Celtics be able to go back in control of this series?
Well, looking what the Celtics have done this season against the Wizards, we're including the regular season as well as the playoffs. They're 4-0 at home against Washington, a point differential of plus 9.8, averaging just under 120 points. On the road, and over. This does not include tonight's numbers. 0-3, minus 22.3, and an average score of 96.7 per game.
And as bad as the numbers look in terms of the defense, their offense didn't give them a chance. I mean, the turnovers, they gave up 32 points off of 19 turnovers. You know how lethal the Wizards are, particularly with John Wall, when you give them those open court possessions on the road. You can't overcome that. And then you look at the rebounding total, minus 15 there. Second chance points, minus 12. Points in the paint, minus 16. I mean, this was a pretty thorough domination by the Wizards, and it's one that'll have you scratching your head a little bit if you're the Celtics and you really want to consider yourself a contender in this Eastern Conference.
Washington blew big leads in games 1 and 2. They've held on to big leads in games 3 and 4. Out of bounds. Last touch by Satoransky on the tip. 1:43 to play.
The one thing about it, though, every game in the postseason kind of takes on a life of its own, you know, and as bad as this has been really the last 2 games, you go home and you handle your business on your home floor as Rozier able to get that finish. You can recapture your confidence, your momentum, and then get back in control in terms of the series.
117 to 100. Final minute 24 here in D.C. Burke the crossover. The step back over Zeller. Tipped home. It was Smith and McClellan charging through. McClellan wants it.
He wants it. I think Smith might have done it, but they were both right there.
Yeah, they gave it to Smith. Green is bumped by Jennings after he left his feet.
A lot of times when a guy calls for it, he knows something that we don't. So let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's all
he
Smith.
didn't know anything we didn't know right there. I like the effort, though.
McClellan was in the mix, but Smith gets the bucket. Washington over the limit. Green at the free throw line. Shot it at 80% this season. And it'll be interesting to see what Brad Stevens does with the lineup. Not just the starting lineup, but the rotation in Game 5. Amir Johnson got the start. They went bigger here tonight. Gerald Green was not a part of the rotation. Green has seen minutes in extended garbage time. 8 minutes for Green, 8 points.
And remember, the Celtics did have a terrific first quarter defensively. Only gave up the 20 points.
Zeller there to greet Satoransky. Young trying to save it, and it's out of bounds. The turnovers, 20 for the Celtics. 19 for Washington.
Yeah, but the thing about Washington, they did a much better job of not allowing the Celtics to take advantage. 21 points off those turnovers, and some of those have come here in garbage time.
Smith! Jason Smith on a rack attack. 33 seconds left. The spin by Rozier. It's blocked by Smith. Green lines it up. And McClellan thought he was going to put that one back.
I figured he wants to get a bucket some kind of way.
He didn't get it on that end. Shot clock and game clock are all lined up. And the Wizards fans on their feet. Satoransky dribbling out the clock. They're going to put .1 on the clock. .5. And that's it. The Washington Wizards have evened this Eastern Conference semifinal series at 2 games apiece. This best of 7 continues to go according to form. The home team gets it done once again. 121 to 102 the final. The Wizards with a dominant second half at home.
That third quarter, as impressive a defensive stance as we've had in this series.
Let's go over to David Aldridge. DA.
Thank you very much, John. They came out great defensive intensity, and you missed your first 9 shots. They got up by 10. How did you stay in the game mentally?
It's easy shots. Layups I missed, a couple wide open shots. But for us to win, I have to be aggressive offensively. I had a lot of shots at halftime, but I still wanted to be aggressive, get my teammates involved, and a couple of shots started to go down.
Beginning of the half, it was tied. And they go up by 5 to start the second half. And then you guys go 26-0. What got that started and what kept it going?
Well, you know, first play they got a foul and Amir didn't hit a corner 3. But we just did great defensively. The way we played defensively that whole third quarter is the reason why we had this win. And that's the reason why we won the last 2 games. We have to find a way to bring that same defensive intensity on the road, and we'll be fine.
I was going to say, you have to win one in Boston. They don't have to win one here. How do you win one?
You know what I mean? Both games we played there, we had a 14, 12-point lead. We just let the crowd get back into it. We just started taking bad shots. The way we play defensively, if we play that way, over there, we'll be fine. We feel like we can get one if we play that way.
Congrats on the win. See you in Boston.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Ian.
All right, David, John Wall, 27 points, 12 assists. The streak continues for Wall and his outstanding play. Final score here in D.C., 121 to 102. Washington over Boston. The series is tied at 2-2. Coming up next, we'll send you to our studio in Atlanta. For Greg Anthony, David Aldridge, the rest of our crew, Ian Eagle, so long from D.C. After the break, it's Ernie Johnson in Atlanta. Have a great night, everybody.